Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Effective Leadership Strategies in the Workplace. I want to thank everyone who has sent questions or just asked me questions in general conversation about, my experience as a leader, some of the toughest challenges I've had, some of the biggest successes I've had, and maybe some tips or tricks for how to help other people or other leaders be more successful or have successful opportunities in their roles and in their workplaces. So today we're going to have a Q&A session, and there's only 5 or 6 questions that I'm going to pull today. And then we'll do this type of Q&A session every few weeks or so, just so I can keep in touch with everyone who's participating and contributing to the channel. So first question, Melanie, are you a good delegator? Well, I can say today I'm a good delegator, but when I first started on a leadership journey, I was a terrible delegator. And I often think to myself back when I was a younger leader, early 20s, probably not really prepared to be a leader at that time, but I thought I was because I was armed with my degree and I thought that I was ready to lead. But I found that I held on to so many of the responsibilities. I think subconsciously I thought to myself, nobody's going to do this better than I do it. So I'm going to hold on. I'm going to play all of the parts in this play, right? But what ended up happening was I was exhausted. I was resentful that, how do all of these other people have all this free time? And here I am and I'm bogged down with work, and why isn't anybody helping me? Well, the reality of the situation was I had not built collaboration among my team. I had a small team of leaders. I had not built an element of collaboration, so people didn't feel like they could work with me and partner with me and take on some of the burden or responsibilities or duties that made up my position. And I didn't really trust people to do it the way that I thought it should be done. And because of that, I assumed all the responsibilities. And then I couldn't really enjoy it if something turned out really successfully. I couldn't really partake in that success. And if something failed, then I felt resentful that, it failed because I didn't have enough support or help. But it really was a negative situation that I brought upon myself. And so if there's one thing I can say, and, just in hindsight, the lessons that I learned is it's so important to delegate to your team, but you have to be clear with your expectations, clear with your vision, surround yourself with subject matter experts, people that are smarter than you in particular areas. Talk about how you'd like to see the collaboration, collaborate with this group of bright people, and then let people take the lead where they need to take the lead. And then what you have is a really successful, professional, collaborative approach and collaborative end product that everyone can take part in its success. So I would say I'm a good delegator now just because I have all of that road behind me of opportunities where I was a terrible delegator. Okay, next question. What makes a good leader? So lots of different things to lots of different people, but I think what you've seen from me over, weeks and weeks of having these conversations is number one, clear vision, authenticity, integrity, collaboration. I'm transparent in my communication. You hire people that are smarter than you. You value diversity, and you grow people, you grow future leaders. I think those things combined make a good leader. And at any given point in time, sometimes you're going to be stronger in some areas, sometimes you're going to be weaker in some areas, but cumulatively, it's those skills, those traits, those behaviors, and those attitudes that make a very well-rounded leader. And I don't want to miss out on saying empathetic. We talked a while ago about just the importance of employees feeling that you're empathetic to where they are. It doesn't mean giving employees a pass on negative behavior, but being empathetic is being able to understand different perspectives at different points in time, from different lenses. And I think you have to be an empathetic leader as well. So we talked about leadership competencies for the individual, for the team, for the organization, and as a leader. And I think the skills and the behaviors and traits that we just mentioned make a very well-rounded, successful, professional leader. Okay, here's a good one. Have you ever made a decision you regretted? Absolutely. And I have two examples of that. The first one is holding on to a toxic employee longer than I should have. I kind of came up and I was educated in the field of early education first. That was the first leg of my journey. And early educators, we care for people, we take care of people, we're nurturers, right? And so I never wanted to be responsible for someone losing their income. I always thought in the back of my head, well, that's someone's family I'm impacting. And I'm sure if they just try harder, if I'm clear, if I communicate clear, if I spend more time with this person, if I support this person more, if I show others how this person can be a valuable member of our team, then they can be successful, they can turn it around. And sometimes that's just not the case, especially when it's with an employee who's toxic. They're bringing toxicity into the workplace. They're creating toxic relationships. They're busy. They're busy. They're bringing toxic relationships into opportunities for collaboration, toxic thought processes, and all the time working behind the scenes to kind of tear apart or tear down what you or what the organization stands for. And holding on to those people is only being complicit in their actions and their behaviors. You can't do that to save an employee. So I had to really change my mindset and change my actions. So I then became accountable for myself and my actions. And I'm going to talk a little bit later about how we do that. Because at the end of the day, if I know that I have provided a great onboarding, I have given clear expectations, I've given constructive feedback throughout the process and received constructive feedback, so we've had an opportunity to collaborate. If I've followed up, if I've provided this employee with enough support and resources and transparency and authenticity, then at the end of the day, if that employee cannot be successful with all of those things in place for them, then this just isn't the role for them. And then I could actually sleep at night. You can't save toxic people because you're just being complicit in their toxic behaviors. And I will tell you, the day that this employee parted ways was the day that the fog was lifted. I mean, the environment felt better, employees felt better, people were being more productive. And I thought, how much time did we waste on this one employee when all these other employees were here waiting in the wings to be given an opportunity? So don't be complicit in a toxic employee's behaviors, attitudes, and performance. So another decision that I made that I regretted was not advocating for myself. There were many times kind of throughout my professional journey that I thought to myself, oh gosh, if I had spoken up sooner, if I had advocated for myself sooner, or why didn't I get an opportunity for that particular role or that particular experience? You have to make your wants known. And you have to back that up with experience, with education. And I don't just mean formal education, but I also mean education that happens through certification courses to continue to expand your knowledge base, through professional collaboration, through networking. So lots of different opportunities for education. But you have to back up that will, not just with desire to grow, but with all of the resources and knowledge to grow. So, and you have to ask questions. You have to ask questions. Oftentimes, people are so caught up in their own role that even if they've worked with you for a long time, or they work with you for a short time, they may not know that you want to be exposed to certain opportunities. They may not know that. And so it's important that you be able to find your voice, do some research, figure out what it is, understand your own professional value, your professional worth, do the homework. And so, like I said, sometimes that means attending extra workshops or engaging in professional development opportunities, networking and collaborating with people outside of your discipline, outside of your field, so that you can really ramp yourself up to be a well-rounded professional. And then you have to be willing to step away if it's just not working for you. And that takes years and years and years. But not advocating yourself creates resentment and it creates professional frustration. And you don't ever want to put yourself in that situation. So You're going to advocate for yourself, and you're going to make sure that you're going to remove toxicity from your workplace. Okay, another question. What is your biggest strength, or what do you feel your biggest strength is? I would say identifying potential in people and then helping those people to grow into leaders or to understand, kind of what their leadership capability is. I believe in the power of people. I believe in people, and I believe that everyone has potential, some untapped potential. But what that means is you have to look hard, sometimes harder in some than in others, and sometimes you got to dig a little deeper and scrape through that surface. But you have to look hard to find out what skills each of your team members has, and then how you leverage those skills, how you level set that knowledge, those skills that employee has, and then how you determine are these competencies that I could use or that this employee could use in a leadership role, or maybe they're just going to be a leader at their own site or in their own department. Maybe these are leadership skills that we can use across the organization. And once you figure out where this employee stands and the potential that they have for success at the next level, then you really surround employees with support, resources, knowledge to help them be successful. Stretch assignments, opportunities to mentor and shadow someone else, mentor-mentee relationships where you're providing critical feedback, honest and authentic feedback. Leading from the front, so you can be their mentor, their guide, their leader. Leading from the side, so you can collaborate with and partner with. And leading from behind, so that's when you're saying, I have faith in you. You have all of the skills and the foundation that you need for you to take the lead. I will be here if you need me. And that takes a lot of risk and a lot of trust on both sides. But I think that if I were to identify a strength of myself, it would be identifying potential in people and then helping those people grow into leadership roles. When hiring leaders, what should we do? What should the process be? Well, recruitment and talent acquisition is different in a lot of ways and has changed in a lot of ways to respond to the social climate, to respond to the needs of the changing globe, right? We know that there are diverse employees out there looking for opportunities. We know that diverse, equitable, and inclusive practices increase a company's return on investment. There is value in having a diverse workforce. So what we're asking people to do, if you're a recruiter or someone on a talent acquisition team, first thing you should do is proactive recruitment. There's no such thing as reactive recruitment. Right? You really want to be a proactive recruiter, which means you keep going into your talent base, you keep going into your network that you formed over years just from meeting people, left and right, just from meeting people. So you have a network of folks. And when you know positions are coming and you know what the expectations of those positions are, and you know that you want to make sure that you're tapping into a diverse applicant pool, then you reach out proactively to applicants first to say, hey, just wanted to touch base, haven't spoken to you in a couple months or a year or so. I know this was a skill set of yours, and we've got a position coming up that you might be interested in. Give me a call when you get a chance. It's not just waiting till you have the next job fair. It's reaching out to top level, diverse talent ahead of the game proactively so they know that you're interested in them, because the message that you're sending is, I value you. We think you could be a valuable member of this organization. We think you have the skills to help us be successful, and we want to align with you. We want you to be a part of the growth that our organization is experiencing. It's proactive recruitment. Once you've done that, an employee or an applicant may come back to you and say, I'm happy where I am right now. I'm okay where I am right now, but thanks for reaching out to me. It's not okay to write that person off. It really isn't, because what they're saying is, I'm happy now, it's not the right fit for me now, but they're not saying it's not going to be, or there's not going to be another opportunity for there to be a good fit for me. So you know what? In 6 months, put it on your calendar, mark it down, and just reach out with an email or a phone call to say, hey, we're not really actively looking right now, but I wanted to connect with you. I wanted to know if you wanted to join our next networking session or collaboration session, just to kind of keep in touch and keep base. How are you doing? I remember your skills being so strong with this. You've got great communication skills. You've got great networking skills. So being specific is a part of the proactivity for that talent acquisition leader. The other thing is, once you've reached out and once you've kind of, done your proactive sourcing and your proactive talent acquisition and you get the employee on board, excellent onboarding. Excellent onboarding. It's a thing that gets kicked to the side a lot, but it's something that we need to hone our interest on, and because that's the point where you're aligning your mission, your vision, your expectation with that employee's. You're setting clear expectations for the organization, and you're explaining to the employee about what potential you see in them and how they're going to be a part of the organization's moving forward. Once you've done your onboarding, then it's professional development. You are offering that opportunity to train, to be developed, to be enriched, to offer those stretch assignments, offer those challenge assignments. Professional development along the way is to keep employees from becoming stagnant in their learning. It should always be a critical time for knowledge, right? For gaining knowledge, for understanding and building that content level, and for strengthening that skill set. It's a competency that we talked about. And finally, succession planning, which we've already talked about, but succession planning says to the employees, I believe in you, this organization believes in you, we believe you have an opportunity as a future leader. We want you on board, we want you to contribute to this discussion and this conversation. Those are kind of the key Q&A questions, or the things that surface most for me. I would encourage you over the next couple weeks while we're covering other content to kind of leave me a message here. You can also email me at melanie@engage and lead. Ask more questions, ask more kind of stretch questions, make me think about it a little bit, or maybe share your experience as a leader, and maybe I can give you some tips on how to handle things a little bit differently, or how to look at things through a different lens. Thank you for joining me this week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.